Varush Gamuchan. I guess I'm a multidiscipline, speaking of multi-literacy, multidiscipline artist, architecture, training, and art, philosophy, that kind of thing. I brought several objects. One object is a turtle. First Nations mythology around the turtle is how the turtle creator basically dived into the ocean to, it's a metaphor as a psychological investigation about our depth of to find the bottom of the ocean, to find the land. That's one thing. The other one, I did the Compostela in northern Spain, and their logo is the shell, and the symbology of the shell is that all these paths, we have all different paths, modality, I guess, in a way, but it kind of leads to one collective kind of image. Anyway, so what else? All sorts of things, colorful mandalas. This is like a little metal, I don't know, one of those you buy it at a dollar store or something, you can play around. And changes shape, it becomes a sphere, and then it becomes a jewel, that kind of thing. So I'm really interested in this subject. So.
My name is Yukiko Tosa, and I'm a retired Vancouver Public Librarian. I worked at Vancouver Public Library for 40 years. I've been retired now for 4. In my career as a librarian, I was also a children's librarian, and I worked with AV and technology with the children. And one of my favorite things is, of course, storytelling and doing programs with children. But my other big love is origami, and it has always been a big love of mine. And I do something called Storygami with the children. It's combining story with origami as a way of teaching them origami. And we come up with all different kinds of stories, and it has a long history. So right now in my retirement, I'm working with the National Nikkei Center and Museum, and they have an educational field trip program for students to come to hear about the Japanese Canadian history at the museum, but also they've got us retirees working with the children to experience culture, whether it's making manju, the cakes, or ikebana, or martial arts, and also including kimono wearing. And I do the origami portion. So that's how come Keiko got me to come and think about how we could do this kind of intergenerational thing, because our origami world is huge. It's very revolutionary as well. And we incorporate math and science as well. And we have international conferences all over the world, and it just is booming. So it's one way of sharing culture with the young, and also keeping me motivated to come and think of stories and also origami. So that's mine.
2 things. One, I've been involved in teaching children online before the pandemic in person, but we're doing it online now. And we've been exploring time, and obviously part of time involves memory. So some years ago, I created this, to move around to show you, a weaving, which is called How Memory Works. I don't know if you can see the whole thing.
Beautiful.
Okay, top to bottom, and it incorporates found objects apart from the yarn, found objects found in a junkyard, and incorporates photography and music. And it was displayed at the Vancouver Public Library for as part of a display involving art and psychology.
My name is Oliver Hockenhall. I'm a filmmaker mostly. I also do writing and media artwork. I like the idea of the modalities or modes, different translations, because that's really what the digital is all about. I recently made this object here, which is a sensor in there that actually allows me to translate starlight into MIDI. which then I can turn it into music. So I have, I've been working on that. I also work a lot in film. So, and I'm very much interested in co-creating content for this next piece I'm doing, which deals with my mother, memory, and photography.
Mm, yeah.
I really like the origami stuff. I don't know how I could integrate that in, but origami it is a really hot subject right now, especially with mathematics and foldings, and that's a whole complexity that's very intriguing. Thank you.
So I feel like partly because I'm in Alberta right now and not in Vancouver, I left back home a lot of my little tokens that I may have otherwise used. But one of those that I left behind was my copy of Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes, which was a philosophy book that I read in my first year of university, and that got me thinking about a lot of the ideas I'm going to share in my presentation, I guess, today, like emergence. So I printed out a picture of the frontispiece of Leviathan. And as you can see here, there's a giant ruler of a country. Whoop. And his whole body is made of all of the people who he presides over in that country. So Leviathan was Hobbes's way of trying to make a point that people should stick with a monarchy, and that like when you have a monarch on the top, all of the people kind of fall into line and then be like a human body. But I guess I had a bit of an unorthodox reading of Hobbes, and since then I've kind of thought about this image a lot in terms of self-organization and the ways in which us all working together as individuals, what we'll create. I think that the sovereign is one way that we can arrange ourselves and then create something that has agency and independence and benevolence. But the Leviathan, which Hobbes named this book, I don't think that that's what's depicted on the cover. I think that the Leviathan is something else that we can create when we all get together and form something that is more self-destructive. So I think that there are all of these ways of thinking about the ways that, like the organisms that we create when we come together.
Hey, thanks, Cora. I have this plate. It's very cold. I'll take this picture off of it, but this I found in a box at Emily Carr University when I was visiting my high school art teacher, and there was a box of free stuff, and of course I was immediately drawn to that box. So I find this plate is beautiful. I look at it all the time. It looks like the moon. It's got this lovely texture. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's just fantastic. And I have this salt lamp that is currently shedding right now as I pick it up, but once I use it to scratch the surface of this box, I'm not sure if that sounds satisfying or not, but it creates these beautiful scratches, and yeah, right here it's beautiful, and it's yeah, it's fantastic. So
hello everyone. I'm a biomedical scientist. It's been a few years that I've been studying the healing property of multimodal expression, learning, communication, and creation. Mostly the healing property of this on nervous system. And I've been having so many sessions in form of expressive art circles, communication circles, and I think multimodal exposure, it's a very, very strong way for learning, for forming memories, and for improving the motivation for the person. Um, so I'm very happy to work with all of you on this project. My token for today, it's a line from Rumi, from the sonnet 2134. First, I go with the Farsi version of it, so you can hear it in the original language. It says, رفتیم سوی شاهدین با جامه های کاغذین، تو عاشق نقش آمدی همچون قلم در رنگ شد. So this is a very good example of multimodal learning. As you can hear, it rhymes. Rumi is a great teacher, and most of his teaching is in form of poetry, because it has both structure and rhythm and music in it. So you can hear the music in it. Plus, it brings a lot of basically refers to so many images.
My name is Roz Hansen. I'm a serial retiree, I call myself. I used to be a teacher of regular students. Then I went to special needs. I've done various nonprofit jobs. I went through Toastmasters and TED coaching, and now I'm just Auntie Roz. And with an interest in genealogy, and I was thinking that this little pin here is an angel on your shoulder pin, and it is actually saying a little message to grandmas. And I think my grandmother was so important in my life. She's long gone, but I still sit her in a honorary chair to have a chat with her once in a while when I like some deeper insights into what's going on. So my interest in the genealogy part is that we have shared stories across generations and collected those stories, and it has made all the generations' lives richer. And so I'm really interested out, for instance, at the time that Marina's grandmother was alive, we taped conversations between all of those siblings. And so we had audio tapes of them laughing and chatting and telling their stories. And one of my thoughts is that it would be important now to reformat those audio tapes and the videotapes that I made at the time into something that the younger generation could actually view. And whether it's digitalized somehow, I need to look into how I could do that. But just sharing all the stories across the many generations is just enriching for so many levels. So that's all I can think of for now.
Thank you, everyone.